Hi guys, Jarrod here. Today we're going to look at the Neo Geo X. We're going to take a look at some of the games that I've played. Keep in mind, this was when I just got the system. I just started recording right away. You may have noticed at the beginning, that's why I didn't speak, that you didn't hear that classic Neo Geo sound, and that's something to do with the recording itself. That's not in the Neo Geo X. That's not one of its problems. But you will notice that you'll see some screen tearing and other issues throughout this video, and that's one of the problems with the Neo Geo X hardware right now. It's something to do with the emulation or whatever. So anyways, the first game we're looking at is obviously Magician Lord, and like I said, there's some VSync issues, there's some screen bleeding, other little issues here and there. I wanted to mention though that what you're seeing isn't what I see on my TV. Notice at the bottom left and right, you see HP and POW. Well, those two meters on my screen are pretty much cut in half. That's how much the screen is like all distorted for some odd reason. And you can see the little flickering every now and then. Just other weird little issues. I didn't notice any input lag on this particular title, but you'll see soon enough that there's definite issues. Want to make note that I'm running this on the 370 firmware. I don't have the Mega Pack as of yet, so that's important to note. Okay, so just keep watching the video. I'm gonna stop talking every once in a while just so you can hear the music and see how it you know, how it compares to the real thing. So as you can see, it's not too bad, Magician Lord. I find some of the colors are a little bit saturated, a little washed out, but this, what you're seeing is the direct feed straight from the Neo Geo X itself. And I know I just said that you see how it compares to the original thing, but that's only going to work if you know what the original thing looks like, or you wait until my CMVS arrives so that I can actually take comparison shots and show you more or less like how this thing compares. For most people who have never played the Neo Geo before, you're going to say like, oh well, it looks pretty fine. But what you don't realize is these games shouldn't be in 16:9. They're actually supposed to be in 4:3. And it's odd because Tomo, the company that's behind this, says, oh, you can just take your TV and switch it to 4:3 mode and then you're good to go. But that's not the case for me. It didn't work at all. Yeah, I had basically all kinds of issues. When I switched to 4:3, the screen was still all distorted, the meters were still all cut off, just didn't make any sense. And yeah, like this is what I was talking about. See right here, you don't hear the like sound, and that's nothing to do with the X. That's something to do with the capture recording card I'm using and it not working for some weird reason. So this is one of my favorite games on the Neo Geo, or at least it was when I actually knew how to play the damn thing. And this obviously is Samurai Shodown II. And again, I just find the colors are a little washed out. It should look a little nicer than this. And like I say though, this does look better than it does on my actual television. Because on my TV, wow, it looks really washed out. So this gives me a little hope, actually. This makes me, you know, maybe think that, well, we can get the games to look this good, maybe in future firmware updates or something like that, because this is what's coming from the system itself. And I've edited the video so that I'm playing in the Japanese mode. This is one of the only games that actually allows you to do that with the how many games is it? The 20 games that come on the X itself. Most of them are the American counterparts, which means there's no blood or anything like that, which is a little unfortunate that they didn't give you the opportunity to select the region of play. So I'm hoping that they add that in a future firmware update, because, well, it's kind of annoying not to have like a UniBIOS. And for those that know what the Neo Geo is all about, the UniBIOS basically allows you to select which region your games are played in, so that you can switch everything to Japanese if you want. So Metal Slug, for example, will have blood and just, you know, like the King of Fighters, Mai's lovely chest physics will come into play and things like that. So as you can tell, I've got the skills like Jagger here. I'm playing horribly, and I only realized after that they actually put the special move down on the meter when I was actually doing this recording. I was like, oh wow, that's wonderful. I wish I would have paid attention to that a little sooner. So Samurai Shodown II looks pretty good. I mean, again, this was one that I didn't find there was any input lag. Again, yes, you know, about the colors being washed out and stuff like that. I'm hoping all this stuff is fixed with the 500 firmware update. But I don't know. I'm just happy that, you know, I got a chance to play through a lot of these games. See that what you just saw there was one of the reasons that this game was so famous was with the scaling effect. So when you move further away from the your opponent, as you see here, the screen actually backs up, and then when you get close, it basically zooms in on the action. And that was actually taken from The Art of Fighting, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was the first one that did this. So I've got one more match I show here, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll switch on to something else. Yeah, that's right. I just gotta kick Charlotte's ass, and then we'll move on to the King of Fighters, I believe it is. Actually, no, it's not the King of Fighters. What am I talking about? It's the original Fatal Fury. Yeah, very exciting stuff. This was such a sweet game, though, Samurai Shodown. I miss those days. There hasn't been a new Samurai Shodown in forever. But I'm glad I don't have too much to complain about with this. And I'm actually shocked when I'm watching this video with all of you guys here, as I'm editing it together. I'm really, really impressed by the color and contrast of this. It's much better than it appears on my television. I'll tell you that. Alright, so let's jump in to Fatal Fury, the King of Fighters. You know, I'm not too hot about this menu system they have. It's all right, but I think they could have done a much better job. I don't like the fact that there's no sound, there's no click like or anything like that. So I don't know. I hope, I know that a couple of people have told me that they did improve it with the firmware update, but I believe there's still no sound effects or anything like that. It just feels odd that you're moving the joystick and you don't hear click, click, click or anything. Oh, there you go. If you looked at the Fatal Fury, you see the way it was all out of sync there? That plagues all the games. And I know some people won't see it, but just rewind the video there and you'll see it. It's in the F. You can really notice that basically the top portion is a little bit ahead of the bottom portion. So here's another game that I don't remember anything about, but I just wanted to show you guys some, just some gameplay. I gotta get some friends over here to really have some fun and pick up another joystick or whatever. But what I loved about this was the plane system, where you can go forward and back, and watch me get my ass handed to me here. But it's amazing with this. Like, look at that. One hit, I took so much of his energy off. And if you do special moves, I remember that with this game. If you don't block a special move, you get WTF destroyed. And look at me there trying to do my quarter circle. Yeah, got the skills. And I really thought I lost this round. But okay. Alright, let's see what happens next. I'm pretty sure there's one round I get destroyed. Oh, I love that. Look at that. Keep in mind that this game was really... See, a lot of people just took this for granted, but you had environmental effects, you had like the day-night system, which I thought was pretty damn badass. And back then, when this came out like in '91, this was pretty awesome. I remember being very impressed with this. Nothing could take away, obviously, from Street Fighter. Street Fighter was the shit, but this was just really something. Although I never really liked that. You connect with one special move and it's pretty much you're dead. And look at me, man, I suck. This is really funny watching this. Wow. I got the skills. Alright, we'll only look at one more game after this, where I just take on the first level. And then I've got a lot of complaints left to do here. It's unfortunate because like the X was supposed to be something really awesome, and I know for a lot of people who never owned a Neo Geo or anything like that, this probably is amazing to them. They're like, wow, this is badass. Unless you, well, depending on how you connect it to your TV. But like I said for like the 100th time here, it does not look like this on my television at all. I wish it did, because I wouldn't complain as much as I've been complaining as of late. It's unfortunate, because this could have been so much more. Alright, so now Metal Slug. Put my heroes to 5. I'm going to need them. This was one of the worst games, actually, to suffer from just like sync issues in the screen, a lot of screen tearing. There was even some flickering at one point, but it doesn't come off. I already watched this segment of the video, and it doesn't come off. You can see it. You have to really look. Like, you can see it right now. It's all over the place, the way the screen tearing is going on. And I don't know why. Another issue was, this game was so loud compared to the rest. I noticed that on some of the games, the overall volume was just ridiculously loud, and then other ones I had to turn my television up like significantly because I couldn't hear a damn thing. In this case, this is one of the ones where there's no blood because it's the US version. Very unfortunate that that you couldn't like select your region. I should have died there. That was insanely close. Don't worry, I'll die quite a few times. Once coming up right now. Look at those skills. Yeah. It's pathetic, actually. But yeah, so this one suffers from like the worst screen tearing that I've seen. Fatal Fury's got a lot of color bleeding. I said screen bleeding before. I don't know why. But yeah. So let's enjoy some more footage here. I actually had to go in and edit the sound of this particular segment of the video. I had to decrease the game's output volume like by 75%. That gives you an idea of just how loud this game is compared to all the other ones that I showed in the video. Now, again, this was the very first time I played on the X. I recorded the footage right away after having not played the Neo Geo in years, so I had a good time, I won't lie. I definitely had a good time. It was unfortunate that I had issues with my joystick not working right away. Then there were issues. Oh, there's skills right there. Then, the first issue I had was with the USB port on the system. I actually had to take a pair of pliers and bend it so that I could get my system to actually work. Okay, this is the last game I show. I thought Metal Slug was the last one, but this is the actual last one that I recorded. This is Last Resort, and this was completely and utterly unplayable on the 370 firmware for the Neo Geo X. I don't know if it's better or worse or whatever for the 500 update on this particular game, but this is really unfortunate because this is a great R-type style game. It's a shmup, and it's completely unplayable. You can't tell from the footage you're going to see, but if I flick the joystick up, it actually takes like 1 sec, well, maybe not a second, but close to it for the ship to move. Like, there's such a large amount of input lag, it's insane. And so you just can't play this. Like, you'll see, I stopped the video in like 20 seconds or something crazy like that because it was completely and utterly unplayable. So, what's the bottom line with Neo Geo X? Like, my sort of first impressions of the actual games? I was disappointed, I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed that a lot of them suffer from so many graphical issues, audio issues, and just gameplay issues. But I'm hopeful that in the future, because of what I'm seeing right here, that things will pan out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll be back soon with another video.
Do